Here we go. Show number 12. Yippee-ki-yay.
Let's get it rocking.
Yeah. Rocking and rolling. Let's get into it today.
Lots going on.
A lot going on. Let's talk about that. You watched that game last night?
I did. What great game. Absolutely great game.
You got Poopgate going on?
I just think it's I mean, hey, look, it's
Lamar Jackson is unbelievable.
Freak show.
Unbelievable. I don't care if he went to the bathroom, didn't go to the bathroom. I don't care what he did. Don't matter to me. What he did was unbelievable in that game.
He came back out of that locker room and it was like, whoa. First play.
He threw. First of all, his passes on that last drive,
perfect
on their heat, and delivered.
They were definitely pinning their ears back and coming.
Pinning their ears back. Delivered the ball twice, to the tight end, I think, and then.
Yep. And then the one over the middle to what I thought was great because that guy had dropped like 3 different passes earlier in the game. So it's not like it mattered who he was throwing to. You know, he kind of just let it fly and made a play, and that was it.
Yeah, I thought he was just – and that was back and forth. And Baker Mayfield was awesome too. So –
when they put him in the right situations, and a lot of people, you got to understand he's still not, Odell Beckham's not there. He's not working with one of his best weapons, right. But he's still getting it done using his ground game. I think they should have used it a little bit more last night. But, Nick Chubb is an animal.
Yeah. He runs with authority, physical. He's got good speed.
Right. He's got enough speed.
That was good. That was a heck of a game. Heck of a game. Went on forever, too.
What was the final? 48, 42, 46, 42, something like that? 48, 42? Because I think they killed all the bettors who had the Browns +3 because they got a safety on the last play of the game.
Yes, I saw that.
People were not very happy.
They weren't happy, huh? They were going nuts.
They were not very happy.
That's pretty funny.
He's got enough speed.
That's really funny.
Part of the game.
So that's that. I mean, well, the Vegas is always right for a reason.
It's what they do full time.
There's a reason why they don't have they make the money and you don't.
Correct. That's the point.
That is the objective. Otherwise, there would be no Vegas.
Exactly.
Okay, so nothing crazy there. We're gonna have a fairly quick show today. No, not our normal drawn out night, how we like to do it. You know what I mean? But because we got an event to go to tonight, today. Tomorrow's National Signing Day. One of our guys signing, and with Richmond tomorrow. We'll release that tomorrow. And tonight we'll celebrate our senior football players, which would be great. So we're excited about that. Moving on, Heisman Trophy candidates. I already saw Pete Connolly hit up with the Ian Book for Heisman thing. I think Ian Book's really good. So what do we have? Who's going to be the top 5? So Trevor Lawrence.
The ones I looked at today and what was listed based off of I looked up, it's off sportsillustrated.com. You have, in no particular order, you have Trevor Lawrence, right, from Clemson, Justin Fields, Ohio State, Zach Wilson, BYU, Kyle Trask from Florida, and then Mac Jones from Alabama.
And so Ian Book is not even listed.
I mean, that's 5 guys. I don't know how many they normally invite on the regular. I'm sure there's some other guys in there. That's just the list that I kind of pulled off and was looking at. I really don't know. I think Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are the 2 top guys, depending on what they do going forward in these extra games where they're going to be even more so in the limelight. And then just kind of, I don't know, can make that decision off of that. So,
well,
it's always a quarterback, isn't it?
It's not always a quarterback.
It's always a quarterback.
Well, Wilson's probably done because BYU lost.
That's what I would think. I still think he'll get an invite.
He'll get an invite. Trevor Lawrence is hasn't played that much, so
I think. And I mean, if you look at it, you got
the field. He has 5 games, although he's been on.
3 of these guys are going to be in the playoffs,
right? And then you got.
But my question is, when is the Heisman given out? Is it given out before these playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be next week or 2. Well, I don't know where they moved. They might have moved because usually it would already have been done, right? So,
I want to say it's usually this weekend or last weekend. It's one of the first weekends in December, right?
It's January 5th. That's way later than normal.
Okay, so it's pushed back.
So. No, maybe that's right. Maybe it's the week before the championship. Okay, so who do we have?
Way later than that normally. No,
maybe Ohio State. So Ohio State will have had their conference championship, right?
All of these teams play their conference championships this weekend, and it's funny because you have Bama, Florida, Mac Jones for Bama, Trask for Florida.
I think Mac Jones right now is the leader from Alabama.
How can you not? He's thrown for like gazillion yards.
I mean, Mac Jones, Justin Fields to me is the other guy. We'll see how Trevor Lawrence does I'm sure he'll do great, but in the championship game against ESPN. So I guess Ian Book, if he beats Clemson the second time, yeah, he could win the Heisman.
I'll never root for no. Never rooting for a Notre Dame guy.
Oh, come on, man.
I just hate Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, or hatred from Notre Dame. Okay, well, it is. Let's see. So Mac Jones. I'm just trying to pull up his stats here, but every website's so slow. Let's see. His numbers are mind-boggling. 217 of 284, 3
This is who, Ian Book?
This is Mac.
Mac Jones. Yeah,
Mac Jones. Mac. I thought it was
MAC.
217 for 284, 3 INTs for 3,321 yards and 27 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's stupid. If you're going based off numbers, there's no question.
Well, let me see. Well, let's see what. Fields is only 5 games, but his numbers have got to be sick. Justin Fields. Justin Fields is 107. 107 for 137 for 1407, 15 TDs, 3 INTs. So if you basically double his numbers to kind of, so he fairly within range. And then what about running? Because Mac Jones doesn't run, but I don't know what Justin Fields' rushing yards are. How about Ian Book? Undefeated Notre Dame.
Yay.
Ian Book 181 for 286, 2382, 15 TDs, 2 INTs. I mean, his numbers aren't in the ballpark of Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is playing in the ACC. This guy's playing in the ACC, and I'm not saying anything.
SEC. You mean he's in the SEC? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the SEC, man. All right, yeah, Justin Fields playing in the Big Ten, Trevor Lawrence, he's playing in the ACC, but, Justin Fields has only played a certain amount of games. Trevor Lawrence has only played a certain amount of games. Mac Jones has played every game.
Trevor Lawrence is 173 for 250 for 24-31, 20 touchdowns, 3 INTs, and he's only played in 5 games.
Now his numbers are sick. Yeah.
Those numbers are mind-boggling.
And he's been doing it for a while.
He's got pretty sick numbers. But
we'll see. All comes down to whatever.
Mac Jones is definitely the leader. Any running backs?
I would think so.
Oh, well, what about the Buffalo guy? Isn't he in the mix? The Buffalo running back? I mean, what's his numbers?
He's from Buffalo.
Buffalo Bulls?
They ain't putting anybody from Buffalo in the Heisman candidate.
Jared Patterson stats.
There's no way they're putting him in there.
In 5 games, Jared Patterson has 5 games, 1,025 yards, 18 touchdowns.
And he still won't get a mention at all.
He only ran for 105 yards. He's probably out of the game pretty quick in that game because they won by 49. So he's averaging 8.
It may have felt like time.
Come on, ESPN.
But for Honeywell, it's been hyperspeed, helping create safer environments.
ESPN. Please. Sorry. 123 carries, 105 yards, 8.3 yards a carry, 18 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
If you doubled his numbers, that's 10 games. Well, let's put it like this. If a normal year, you play 12, right?
Right.
12 games. All right, let's just get a calculator here. Online calculator. Okay. He has how many yards did we say? 1,025?
Mm-hmm.
Times 12 games would be 2.4. So if he had a normal season at the pace he's going, he would rush for 2,460 yards. So let's multiply his touchdowns, which are 18 at this point, times 2.4. He would score 43 touchdowns.
If he stayed on track, if he didn't get hurt, who are they playing? It's Buffalo.
I don't care 43 touchdowns he's on pace for?
Who did he really play?
Well, what's the record? What is the record for touchdowns scored in a season?
I know, I'm the difficult one.
Why are you difficult?
Because I'm the naysayer.
Well, last year Joe Burrow threw 60 touchdowns, by the way. Just as well, that's pretty it's pretty mind blowing. Rushing touchdowns in a season. If you get the records, that's what I'm looking for. Why does this have to be so hard? Just give me records. Records index. This is the record. Well, how come I can't click and see what the record is? Individual records. Rushing records. Rushing yards. Rushing touchdowns in a season. Oh, my God. Okay, here we go. All right, do you know who has the record?
Barry Sanders.
Correct. 37 touchdowns.
So there you go.
So he would be on pace to break Barry Sanders' record.
Yeah, that's not bad.
He obviously tied the most rushing touchdowns in a game with 8. And then, let's see. Yep, that's pretty impressive. Yardage-wise, Barry Sanders, 26-28. He wouldn't have gotten that.
Either way, it's impressive. Yes.
Most rushing yards in a career, Donnell Pumphrey from San Diego State.
Right, that was recent.
Yeah. He had that's a pretty good career. Interesting.
So we'll have to just see. We'll see who takes it home and see who does what with what.
Yeah. All right, moving on. You seem very enthused today, Coach.
Coach, I'm focused. I'm excited for tonight.
You excited?
Yeah, it should be good to see the guys again. We haven't seen them in God knows how long.
Absolutely. Lovie Smith, Coach.
Good old Lovie Smith. 5 years at Illinois, 17-39 record. Just finished a 2-5 season, and they gave him the boot.
Last year, I thought he had a chance to turn the corner, but
former NFL guy, takes over pretty much a struggling program, I would say, right? Illinois, not really a place to win, not really a place that's known for winning, anything like that.
They have an issue. They're good players going out of state, and I guess maybe the Smarties go to Northwestern. I don't know.
That's what I would think.
All right. It has to hurt them that Northwestern is good. And
100%.
And right outside Chicago.
Right, there's an appeal there.
And their football field is on Lake Michigan.
Right. So, what facilities does Illinois have?
I'm sure they have decent facilities, but Champaign.
I'm sure they have something, but I
don't know.
A lot of names linked to that job, though.
Well, it's one of those jobs that is like a sleeping giant, right?
Right. If you can go in there and turn it around and do the right thing, it's going to happen.
Is that where Red Grange played at? I thought he was. Let me see. Did he play at Illinois? No. The Galloping Ghost. Oh man, I'm pretty good. He played at the University of Illinois. How about that? I was right. Red Grange.
Oh man,
the great Red Grange played for the University of Illinois.
Oh man. Where some of the names that are linked here.
What are some of the names?
Oh, let's see. Brett Bellamy.
Bielema.
Former
Brett Bielema.
Wisconsin and Arkansas. What is it?
Brett Bielema.
Yep. Brett Bellamy. Jeff Monken.
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, wait. That's interesting. I mean, we run triple option. I don't know. In the Big Ten.
Buffalo's Lance Leopold, right? Buffalo head coach.
I like him. I think he could be a good candidate.
Toledo, Jason Candle.
Good candidate.
Kent State's Sean Lewis. And Wisconsin defensive coordinator Jim Leonard.
Wisconsin's defense coordinator Jim Leonard.
Former safety from the Jets.
Yeah, I was wondering how I know the name. Okay.
So, I don't know. That could be interesting.
The Galloping Ghost.
You're on that. You're so happy you got that. Like, that's your paper. You're pumped.
Here are the career stats of the Galloping Ghost. Red Grange.
Oh, my God.
The first pro star in the NFL.
The first pro star in the NFL. Okay.
Yes. He played for Chicago.
The Bears?
Yep. Didn't you ever see the 30 for 30 on him?
No.
You should watch it. It's a great one.
Must have missed that one.
That's one you want. So how many
Probably
games?
one of the two I missed.
I wonder how many games they played in a year, but it must not have been that many.
Did they play under lights? Did they have face masks?
No, they had no face masks. They had leather helmets. His senior year, he rushed 146 times for 605 yards. It's so different. He threw 29 passes.
And that was probably like the most by any human ever.
Completed 10. So he was 35% passing.
Good job, bud.
He threw 1 TD and 7 interceptions.
Oh.
He caught 2 passes for 35 yards.
These numbers are daunting.
He had 6 interceptions for 83 yards. Played both.
Damn.
He had 22 punt returns for 191 yards. He had 10 kick returns for 310 yards and 6 touchdowns. Wait, so he scored 6 touchdowns. Okay. That's it? The whole year he scored 6 touchdowns? Why is that?
They do play 6 games?
I don't know. There must be something like that. Game by game. Let me see the game by game here. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Wait.
Not bad.
No. In 1925 he played 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 games. Very different world.
You think?
It's interesting. His junior year, he scored 13 touchdowns. His sophomore year, he had 12. Interesting. Okay. It's Red Grange. Sorry to bore our fans with that. Okay. Any Red Grange fans out there?
I'm sure somebody gotta love it.
Someone's got to love the old Red Grange. All right. Let's see what we got. So now, well, the next thing, anything on Illinois? Who do you think should be the next Illinois coach?
I don't know. I think that's a job where an up-and-comer is probably going to fit perfect. Not really. It's not you're not going to be rushed into immediate expectations. Where I think you can kind of look to build something, but you got to go in with a plan, get the right people in place, and then go from there. You know what I mean? I don't think it's something. I don't think you need to make a splash hire. I think that could be a let me grab a coordinator type of gig, and then go from there. And maybe that's the guy. But you definitely got to have a plan in place and understand what you're going to do, or an angle that you're going to take, or some type of niche in order to get the right guys to go there.
Lovie Smith had a great beard.
Phenomenal.
His beard.
Pure white.
He was a high school coach his first 3 years. In Tulsa, Wisconsin, Arizona State, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio State, Tampa Bay, linebacker coach, St. Louis defensive coordinator, Chicago Bears for 8 years. He showed a lot of promise there. He's 89 and 87 in the NFL. Then 2 years only in Tampa, I guess, before getting fired. Maybe that goes into what you said about they roll right into another job, keep rolling in the jobs and not correcting maybe the issue. But he had a pretty good NFL record, 89 and 87. I mean, by all accounts, that's a pretty good record for NFL. So hard to win.
I could see him possibly popping up somewhere back in the league as a DC somewhere.
Oh, definitely. I think, well, first of all, college is different, number one. Number two, the rumor was his recruiting wasn't very good.
How does a guy of his age relate to the players of today, man?
Or is there effort in recruiting? Did he rely on other people for recruiting because maybe he came from the NFL and
just hired the wrong people?
Yeah, that's interesting. He's one of the unique guys who was better in the NFL than he was in college.
Right. That's not usually the norm.
Plus, I do think this in college. Now, Shiano's the exception because he's more of a defensive guy, and he's done a good job hiring offensive guys. Right. But I feel like in college, defensive guys don't do, in general, as well as head coaches as more guys in offensive. Now, who are the exceptions? Nick Saban's obviously a defensive guy originally, right?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll was a defensive guy. I mean, Shiano's a defensive guy.
Where are we going? where are we going next?
I'm going nowhere with that.
Where are we going next?
I don't know. I think that's it. Is that it?
My take on that is that, look, it's offense. You're just telling guys what to do, right? Like you're telling, hey, look, you got to do this, you do that, you do this. They know what's going on. Whereas when you're looking at a defensive guy, you're explaining certain things and concepts. And in my eyes, you have to have a higher IQ to play defense, even though it's easier to physically do as far as just run and tackle the guy. You have to know a lot of other things going into it and mainly play basically on the fly once that snap happens. So maybe, your coverage dictates if he does this, I do this, or if this guy goes in motion, now we got to do this. Sometimes I don't think that correlates to college kids because ultimately they're still kids. You know what I mean? So the fact that you may now have to simplify your defense and keep it as simple as possible allows those offensive guys to kind of get a leg up on you because those guys are game planning all week to know exactly what to do.
What you're saying is you can't get as intricate on defense as you can in the NFL because right. So
plus you also, it's a matter of recruiting. If I don't have a guy that can do this, I can't play this defense.
Good point.
I know exactly how to stop that, but I just don't have the horses to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you could. The key on defense is be able to fly around the ball, and if you're
that only happens if you're not thinking.
Right, and not thinking. But so if you have guys that are capable of a lot of things, you can put in a lot more, and they're still not thinking. If guys are not as capable, you got to put in less, play more basic, which allows offenses to control the game. There you go. So if you have an offensive coordinator, if you hire a guy from the offensive end, knowing that most defenses are going to be fairly basic in college, and this guy can pick them apart, then you have an advantage. Makes sense. Good analysis there, Coach D. Oh. All right. Moving on. Oh, lovely Vandy.
This story just continues to baffle me.
Do you think the new head coach said, you might want to transfer?
So the story behind it goes is that the girls' soccer team, I guess, played half of their season, and then they're going to finish the second half in the spring. So she'll graduate, what is it, Sarah Fuller? She'll graduate in the spring and then have, I believe, 2 years of eligibility left, where she's already said she's going to transfer to North Texas and continue her soccer.
Is that where she's from? Is she from Texas or something?
I'm not sure, but she's transferring to North Texas, and that will ultimately be her last hurrah. So her kicking days are done with the end of Vanderbilt's season coming this weekend, but that's her next move. Her next move will be to go to, North Texas as a graduate transfer, and that's it.
The story has gotten so much burn from something that really wasn't that much done. I mean, she's even got her own Wikipedia page. My goodness. My goodness. And they already have in that she's going to North Texas.
In the spring after her soccer team's
and
finished.
She is from Texas. She's from Wiley High School, Texas.
Right. And North Texas is somewhat local for whatever.
Wow. Did you know that she's 6'2"?
I would think so.
You knew that she was 6'2"?
No, I didn't know. I would assume she was around 6 foot, somewhere around there.
Wow,
she's
really tall.
She's a goalie.
Yeah.
And a good one, apparently.
Yeah, well, they won the SEC, so she must be pretty good.
I mean, they got to be somewhat, yeah.
Interesting. I think the new head coach can't wait for all that to be in the past.
Yeah, I think bringing in the DC from Notre Dame, I think, is a good move. He also said that I think he's going to continue to coach Notre Dame through this whole bowl series or championship game and go from there. I think this tells you that they're not really pushing the envelope to get going real quick. If you're going to allow the guy who's going to be your next head coach to stay on with his team through the rest of the whatever, there's no rush there. So it just goes to show it almost looks like the same old Vandy.
Does this whole situation, I'm trying to understand, is the ideal to advance women into football to start their own football, or
I don't think it has anything to do with
just about specific. So that's the whole thing I'm yet to understand is
it's not football specific. It's just a matter of equality across the board.
What was the goal? What was the goal though? That's what I'm still don't understand. Like no one said was the goal to have her be the first person to kick in an SEC game or something like that? Or
I think the goal was to just bring awareness to the fact that, look, if you want to do this as a female athlete, you can. Don't let somebody tell you you can't.
So if you wanted to play field hockey as a man, could you do that?
I'm sure you could.
If they don't offer it,
Yeah, I'm sure you could. I wonder how it would go if it actually came down to it.
I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out is this to lead to something, or
right.
just a statement to say, hey, you could do anything you want to do, when in the actuality, was that really the case? I mean, you could
who knows? We don't know
any girl's soccer player, in my opinion. Any girl soccer player out there that's pretty good and is an accurate soccer player
can kick a field goal.
And kick a field goal. And I'll give you my soccer story because there's a story right in behind this. When my junior year in high school, I did a fortunate designation of being the extra point and field goal kicker, which I was horrendous at, but we had nobody else. I could kick the ball off a mile, but as far as putting it right through those uprights, that was kind of a problem. Anyway, so one day to make a point, and this is obviously long before the things where obviously girls have as many opportunities they have now. But they were starting to have opportunities then. It was the 90s. And my special teams coach trotted out the best player in the girls' soccer team to have a field goal contest with me, field goal kicking contest. So this is practice. So, and this is where I draw my conclusion that a good female soccer player could probably put it through the uprights. I'm not saying they kick a field goal like, these longer field, but putting it through the uprights. So anyway, we kick an extra point. Both of us made it. Amazingly, I made it because I missed as many I would make. And then we moved back 5 yards. She made it. I made it. We moved back another 5 yards, which was now a 22-yarder. She made it. I made it. I mean, mine were like, lots of leg and okay, good. He made it. Hers were right down the middle. And then we go for 30. Amazingly, I made it. She made it because I guess maybe I was up on my game, but I was a terrible field goal kicker. And you go for 35. She buries it. I miss it. And his point was originally back then was, see, we can't get a guy on this team to do it. But I trot out a girl soccer player who's the best player on the team, and she can make field goals. So my point of all that is, I bet you if you took any one of the Vanderbilt girls soccer players.
They could handle it.
And they could make an extra point.
Guaranteed.
So is that really as big a deal if almost every girl soccer player could trot it out and make it? And probably every boy soccer player probably could trot it out and make it too. I'm not saying they could kick field goals, like longer field goals, but bury an extra point. So if that's the big moment, I feel like they could have let her kick a field goal to make it a bigger moment.
Right.
Let her kick the 40-yard field goal.
Let her do it.
Give
her the opportunity to make something happen, to make something, if you're really looking to make a big splash, then that's the way to do it. It's not just giving somebody an
extra point.
Makes no sense.
Your running back probably can make an extra point. So, that's kind of my thing on that. Now, I guess my wondering is, does that open any doors? I doubt it. Okay.
I doubt it. I think there's too many.
It's not
other athletes.
There are too many other athletes that are going to be better. I mean, or people that kick. I guess if someone was a girl kicker and she kicked from the time she was a kid kicking footballs, then maybe yeah. But
right, if she goes to camps, she does this, she does that, she starts beating people out, and somebody wants to offer her a few stars or whatever, then go for it. Kudos, let's go. I got no problem.
That's it. Okay.
But just do everything the right way.
That's right. All right. I think we covered all the stuff we needed to cover for today.
We got to get right. We got a big night.
Tonight's a big night. Time to go get ready. Sorry for the little bit shorter show, but we wanted to make sure we covered.
We got some real things to do.
We got some things to do, and have a great day.
It's going to be a good night.
You betcha. Later.